The Goechala Trek is one of India's most stunning and dramatic mountain trails. Covering nearly 90 kilometers over 9 days, the journey begins in the quiet village of Yuksom and climbs all the way to the shadow of Kanchenjunga, the world's third highest mountain. With every day of the trek, the landscape changes. From humid jungles full of life to windy, barren valleys of ice and stone, Goechala is a trek of contrasts. Often called the most romantic trek in India, it is more than just a physical journey. The trail passes through a region that has been sacred for hundreds of years. A place where mindset matters as much as muscle, and the human spirit is tested against the timeless power of the Himalayas. The gateway to the Goechala Trek is in the state of Sikkim, a small Himalayan region in northeastern India, located between Nepal, Bhutan, and the Tibetan Plateau. Despite being one of India's smallest states, Sikkim is incredibly diverse, with dense forests, high mountains, and a rich blend of history and culture. At the western edge of Sikkim lies Yuksom, a quiet village with deep historical and spiritual roots. Once the first capital of Sikkim, Yuksom was founded in 1642 and is considered a holy place by the local people. It is also the closest town in India to Mount Kangchenjunga, less than 40 kilometers away in a straight line. Yet, its remoteness makes it feel far from the outside world. Yuksom has been a part of Sikkim's history from the very beginning. Above the village, the Dubdi Monastery rests quietly among the trees. Built over 300 years ago, it is the oldest monastery in Sikkim. The trail there leads through dense forests, where leeches are a frequent and unwelcome companion. Today, Yuksom serves as the base for trekkers heading out on the Goechala Trail. As tourism grows, the village is slowly adapting, with local homes transforming into welcoming guest houses. The Goechala Trail begins right in the center of Yuksom, leading through local houses and fields, before slowly disappearing into forested hills beyond. In trekking season, it's not hard to find the path. Many trekkers, porters, and animals like mules, a mix of donkey and horse, and sows, a hybrid of yak and cattle, all travel the same narrow trail into the heart of the mountains. The animals carry the essentials: tents, food supplies, and gas cylinders for cooking. Everything needed to survive the Himalayas over the next days. Before setting out, every trekker must undergo a basic medical check in Yuksom. Beyond this village, there are no rescue stations, and any health issue could pose a serious risk. First day leads through thick, humid jungle. Vines, lichens, and massive trees accompany the travelers as the trail gradually climbs. In the spring, bird songs are heard on every corner. This region is home to many rare Himalayan bird species, including the shy blue-fronted robin. Along the way, local guides sometimes collect wild ingredients, like this stinging nettle, which, once cooked, becomes a warming local soup. Cooking here is no simple task, though. In this remote and unpredictable environment, Sherpa teams must carefully plan each meal, making sure nothing is wasted and there's enough to last the entire journey. On the second day, the trail begins to climb steadily, crossing the Rathong River again and again, each time over narrow bridges just above the rushing water. With every crossing, the landscape changes, the forest thickens. Tall magnolia trees begin to appear. Their noble blossoms are catching the mountain mist. By afternoon, the trail opens to reveal the small settlement of Tshoka, located at 2,950 meters. It's a quiet Tibetan village. Just a few basic trekker huts, a small monastery, and a tranquil alpine lake. Tshoka is more than just a rest stop. Its name carries two meanings: tranquility, or a lake among boulders. Even in the harsh winter months, a few monks continue to live and pray at the monastery, their routines unchanged by the seasons. On the third day, the morning mist finally begins to lift. View on the local landscape opens. Between the tall trees, the snowy peak of majestic Mount Pandim is visible. The path climbs steadily through dense rhododendron forests with twisted trunks and moss-covered roots. In spring, the red and pink blossoms are painting the path. Midway, trekkers reach Rathong, a clearing in the forest where many stop to rest and catch their breath. A small tea hut offers hot chai, snacks, and a few quiet minutes of rest. This is a critical day on the trek. Trekkers need to go about 8 kilometers and gain nearly 1,000 meters in elevation, making it one of the most challenging stretches of the entire route. The acute mountain sickness becomes a dangerous risk. By late afternoon, the trees begin to thin, and the trail reaches Dzongri, the next campsite. At 4,000 meters, it's located on a plateau with many peaks in the horizon. Not just trekkers rest at the campsite. Tsos and mules gather around the tents to chew grass as the mountains watch over them. On the fourth day, many trekkers wake up before dawn and begin the short but steep climb to Dzongri Top, a viewpoint at 4,200 meters. The sky above is dark, full of stars, and in the early hours, the weather is often freezing. If the sky is clear, the reward is unforgettable. The first rays of sunlight illuminate the summit of Kangchenjunga. To its south stand two more Himalayan giants, Mount Pandim, rising to 6,691 meters with its sharp, elegant ridgeline, and Kabru, a massive mountain with 7,412 meters. Kabru is part of a twin-peaked massif, and it holds the record for the southernmost peak on Earth above 7,000 meters. Back at the campsite, life slowly awakens. Dzongri is one of the liveliest stops on the trek, a place to rest, eat, and acclimatize before heading deeper into the high mountains. Locals sell souvenirs, snacks, and warm drinks, while Sherpas prepare diverse meals in the shelter of wooden kitchens. Mules, horses, and even local dogs wander between the tents. With limited water sources nearby, both animals and people share the same stream for drinking. Day 5 of the trek covers about 10 kilometers. From the plateau of Dzongri down into the deep valley of Tenchenkhang. If the skies are clear, trekkers can admire rare, shifting views of Pandim and the eastern face of Kangchenjunga, peaks that feel both near and impossibly distant. The trail sharply descends into a more humid environment, and the landscape changes dramatically. Thick forests return, dominated by tall Himalayan hemlock, or tshoka, strong, towering trees that thrive in the cool, misty air of the valley. Thongsing campsite sits at 3,950 meters and is surrounded by mountains on all sides. It's a quiet campsite, but one that brings new risks. Rescue from here is difficult. The camp is deep in the valley, far from any civilization. One trekker, suffering from acute altitude sickness, needed urgent help. Without hesitation, experienced Sherpas entered the rhododendron forest and used machetes to cut long, sturdy branches for a stretcher. It had to be strong and stable. The trekker's body needed to be kept safe during the difficult descent to lower altitudes. The Sherpas quickly measured the trekker's oxygen levels, far below the normal safe zone. In healthy individuals at sea level, oxygen saturation ranges above 95%, but at this altitude, even a drop below 80% is considered dangerous. At this height, the mountains are no longer just beautiful. They are unpredictable and often unforgiving. Day 6 begins with clear skies and cold mountain air. The views stretch wide across the valley as the trail heads deeper towards the heart of the Kanchenjunga range. The silence of the morning is broken by the crunch of boots on the frozen path. Along the way, an avalanche crashes down the steep ice walls of Mount Pandim. Its sharp glaciers are known to shed snow and ice, especially as the sun rises. The destination of this day is Lamune, a windswept campsite at 4,150 meters. From here, the mountains feel impossibly close, reaching the sky in every direction. The local view of Kanchenjunga was so unforgettable that it once found its place on the old 100 rupee banknote. For many, Lamune is the most memorable stop on the trek, especially for one of the local guides, Sunita, who knows Goechala Trek better than anyone.
मेरा नाम सुनीता है और मैं उत्तराखंड से हूँ और मैं अभी इनके साथ अभी एज अ ट्रैक लीडर हूँ और मेरे को गोएचाला आई थिंक दिस इज़ माय थर्ड सीज़न सो अभी मेरा तीसरा सीज़न है और काफ़ी बार गोएचाला मतलब कंप्लीट किया है आई विश कि इस बार भी हो जाएगा गोएचाला ट्रैक इसलिए फेमस है क्योंकि इंडिया से सबसे क्लोज व्यू कंचनजंगा के यहीं से दिखता है जो और ट्रैक्स होते हैं हमारे वो मतलब छोटे दिन के होते हैं सो दिस इज़ अ 9-day ट्रैक्स सो काफ़ी लंबा दिन होता है यहाँ पे एंड मतलब आप लोगों को मतलब होता है कि एक दूसरे को हम लोगों को जानने में काफ़ी टाइम मतलब टाइम मिल जाता है एक दूसरे को तो इसलिए ये पसंद भी है और काफ़ी अच्छा व्यू है यहाँ से है ना आप पता होगा एक वैली के अंडर एंटर करते हो देन यू कैन सी द माउंटेन कंचनजंगा थालुंग एंड रोथंग एंड ब्लैक काबरू एंड तेंजिंगखांग एंड माउंट पंडिम काफ़ी सारे हैं ना 6000 मीटर अब मतलब काफ़ी सारे पीक्स है तो आप बहुत क्लोजली इसको देख सकते हो तो और ट्रैक से आपको इतना क्लोज व्यू नहीं दिखेगा सो अभी क्या होता है कि जैसे ये आपका काफ़ी लंबा ट्रैक है ये नहीं कह सकते कि इंडिया का सबसे लंबा ट्रैक है इंडिया में और भी काफ़ी सारे लंबे ट्रैक है बट ये भी काफ़ी लंबे ट्रैक में काउंट होता है तो 9 दिन में डिस्टेंस काफ़ी है जैसे 15 किलोमीटर 8 किलोमीटर पर डे आपका क्या है डिस्टेंस काफ़ी लंबा हो रहा है सो यहाँ पे रेस्क्यू करना मतलब काफ़ी मुश्किल है जैसे लास्ट रेस्क्यू मेरा होता है जैसे लास्ट कैंप साइट से लामुने से युक्सुम पहुँचाना बिकॉज ये काफ़ी रिमोट एरिया है ना तो यहाँ से मतलब लोगों को कैरी करके नीचे ले जाना वो बहुत ज़्यादा डिफ़िकल्ट है फर्स्ट में क्या होता है कि हमारा जो एक लड़की थी फीमेल ट्रैकर इन द लास्ट नवंबर बैच अक्टूबर टू नवंबर बैच सो यहाँ पे हुआ था लामुने में उनकी तबीयत ख़राब होती है और ऑक्सीजन काफ़ी डाउन हो गया था उनका बिकॉज एग्जॉस्ट बॉडी थोड़ी एग्जॉस्ट हो रही थी उनकी देन जैसे जैसे हम लामुने कैंप साइट पहुँचे तो उनको हेप की सिम्टम्स दिखना स्टार्ट हो गया था सो हमने क्या किया कि उनको सबमिट नहीं लेके बिकॉज रात को ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम हो रही थी उनको देन हमने उनको ऑक्सीजन वगैरह में भी रखा और फिर हम सबमिट करके वापस आए देन फिर उनको हमने यहाँ से लेकर एक दिन में ही एक दिन और एक रात में हम लोगों ने नीचे उनको युक्सुम पहुँचाया तो जैसे वो युक्सुम पहुँची देन हॉस्पिटल लेके गए वो अच्छा फील करना स्टार्ट कर दिया था
The cold air of the 7th day marks the most anticipated and one of the most demanding moments of the entire trek. Trekkers wake up at 1 a.m. in freezing temperatures and set out into the darkness. Every breath is visible in the cold air. Water bottles freeze within minutes. But as the sky begins to shift from black to indigo, the silhouettes of the Himalayas appear. The weather turns perfect, without a single cloud in the sky. And then, suddenly, there it is. Kanchenjunga, just a few kilometers away. From the Goechala Viewpoint at around 4,600 meters, the morning light spills over the sharp white ridge of Kanchenjunga. For a few brief minutes, the world turns golden. Mount Pandim, Tenchenkhang, and other majestic peaks are surrounding the valley. It's a moment that feels surreal. Kanchenjunga itself is more than just a mountain. Its sacred name means 5 treasures of the Great Snow, referring to the prominent peaks that make up its massif. When Joe Brown and George Band became the first climbers to reach the summit in 1955, they stopped just short of the top, honoring a promise made to the Chogail, the king of Sikkim. The mountain is considered the dwelling place of divine spirits, and to this day, no one is allowed to climb there from the Sikkim side. Stepping on its top would be seen as an act of disrespect. To the Lepcha people, who have lived at its base for generations, Kanchenjunga is the origin of life itself. They believe the first 2 humans were born here and that behind the mountain lies a hidden paradise, a gateway to immortality, guarded by spirits and sealed off from the world by a massive rock that no man can move. There are even legends of a treasure hidden within the mountains, said to be found only by those with a pure heart in times of great need. After sunrise, the trail passes by the crystal clear Samiti Lake. But the day is far from over. The journey back begins, retracing steps down the valley. In the afternoon, the weather changes. Where was once sun just hours ago, now snow begins to fall. The trail quickly disappears under a blanket of fresh snow. The cold is sharp, but the Tongsin campsite offers shelter. As snowflakes fall outside, the Sherpa cook serves pani puri, a small comfort in the vast silence of the mountains. It's been a long day, more than 15 kilometers covered, but the heart of the Goechala trek has been reached and remembered. The return from Goechala trek is demanding, over 30 kilometers over 2 days. Trekkers take a different trail down to Tshoka, offering new views and a final look back at the snow-covered peaks. But from there, the path joins the familiar route down through the dense forests, past old bridges and fading mountain silhouettes. There's a quiet nostalgia among the group. The adventure is coming to an end. The beauty of the Himalayas begins to feel like a dream already slipping into memory. But there's also happiness, and memories made for a lifetime. And then, at last, the final step. The village Yuksom reappears, and with it, laughter, tired legs, and celebration. Goechala Trek is more than just a journey through the Himalayas. For centuries, this land has been considered sacred, and for very good reason. The silence, the sky, the strength of the mountains portray the power of nature. Only a few places offer such a raw connection to the world of ice and stone. Goechala ends at the feet of something timeless. Kangchenjunga.